This video is about the decision block. Now the decision block is very similar to the processing block. Like that block, the decision block contains a set of assignment statements so that when a transaction arrives on the input port, the decision block then executes the sequence of assignment statements contained within the block, and then when the sequence has completed, the decision block outputs the intended value on one or many of the output ports. And this depends upon the guard conditions in the decision block, which controls the output ports to which the value is sent. Now consider the following block diagram. It is composed of a transaction source, which generates transactions, and the transaction is sent to the processing block. The processing block here is very simple. It is used simply to instantiate the address field with a single value. And that transaction is forwarded to the decision block. And the decision block is going to, or has been configured to route the transaction depending upon the value of the address field. So the condition then that's specified in the decision block is that is based upon local variable less than. If the address is less than 1,000, it is going to route the transaction in one direction. If it's greater than or equal to 1,000, it'll route it in another direction. And that routing is fundamentally dependent by another block parameter in addition to the ones that you've seen for the processing block called output conditions. These are really the guard conditions. So the way this is configured then is the transaction will be sent on the output port if it is less than 1,000, and it will be sent to the output 2 port if it is not less than, namely greater than or equal to. And this port is associated then with the text display which is less than 1,000, and this port is associated with the text display according to the text display greater than or equal to 1,000. So when you run the simulation, the transaction whose address is larger than 1,000 is sent to the output port connected to the greater than or equal to text display. Now, if in other uses of the decision block you need more output ports, all you need to do is simply to right-click on the decision block, go to Customize Ports, and simply add as many ports as you want. And so I'll add 2 more output ports. Let's say 3 output ports. And here we have a total of 5 output ports for the decision block. And the way that we would use those is to simply specify in the output ports the additional output ports that you've just added. I'm going to specify that the transaction should be the one that is output, and then you'll specify certain conditions. I'll just abbreviate these for simplicity here. So what this is saying is that you're going to have a series, as many guard conditions as you have output ports, and you're going to specify guard conditions here, which can be mutually exclusive if you want that, or they can have the effect of some of them being true at the same time, in which case you're copying the input transaction and you're copying it to the output ports, several output ports. This ends the video on the decision block.